Picture this. You are anchored just off a quiet shore, stretched out on the deck of an old sailboat. The sun's dropping low, the water's smooth, and everything around you feels unhurried. You've got one hand on the tiller, a cold drink in the other, when an old memory floats in, soft, familiar, and just bold enough to make you pause.
That's the thing about laying your course. It's not always about where you're going next. Sometimes the wind circles back, nudging you towards the places you thought you'd left behind. Not to relive them, but to see who you've become since sailing away.
Welcome to the Latitude Adjustment. It's time to stop drifting and start navigating by your own inner compass. The life you're looking for isn't out there. It's in motion right now. Get ready to step off the map with your hosts, Erica and Rusty Harrison.
We're not just talking about going back to physical places. Sometimes the old versions of ourselves we have to revisit. The ones we left behind because they didn't fit anymore or we thought we'd outgrown them. The places that once felt expansive and full of possibility now seem quaint, like old postcards from a life we left behind. It's not just about geography. It's about who we've become along the way. Sometimes laying your course means understanding that where you are now is just as important as where you've been.
Do you remember that road trip we took through the low country a few years back?
Oh, I love everything that has to do with low country. It ignites all the senses.
We were supposed to just breeze through Charleston, but I couldn't help myself. I took a detour to one of my favorite old haunts.
Yeah, I remember we ended up parked in front of that ancient seafood shack. It was near Folly Beach, right? The one that looked like it's one stiff breeze away from collapse.
Man, I hadn't been there since I was a kid.
Oh, gee.
I used to get hush puppies and fresh shrimp right off the boat when I was a young guy.
Oh, I can taste it.
It smelled exactly the same, like grease and brine and sunshine. I didn't know how much I needed that reminder of where I came from until I was standing there, tasting those memories.
It wasn't just the food. It was that look on your face. Like you'd found a piece of yourself that you didn't know was even missing.
Yeah.
Like the place itself was holding something for you, keeping it safe until you were ready to claim it again. Sometimes those old places remind us of who we were before life starts to get complicated.
Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes laying your course means going back.
Yeah.
Picking up those fragments of your story that you didn't realize still mattered. It's not about staying stuck. It's about reclaiming the parts that made you who you are.
Right.
Like revisiting the spot where I learned to fish. Back then, it was just about the catch. Now I realize it was about learning patience, persistence, and how to sit long enough to let life happen around you.
Ooh, so let's talk a little holistic navigation. First time we sailed Gatsby, our sailboat, we thought we were ready. We'd plotted the course, packed supplies. We had everything in order, but then the wind kicked up harder than expected, and we had to make a choice: push forward or find a safe haven to wait it out.
We ended up dropping anchor in a little cove, waiting out the storm with the sails down and the radio crackling.
Whew.
It wasn't the course we planned.
Nope.
But it was the right call.
Absolutely. That's life, right? So you can lay your course, but sometimes you have to make adjustments. Doesn't mean you're failing, it just means you're adapting.
Yeah.
It's like having that dream job lined up and then realizing it doesn't quite fit your soul. It's okay to reroute. You're not giving up. You're just choosing a different path.
Yeah, I think about that a lot. How sometimes the course you planned doesn't fit the person you've become.
Can you just give us that one more time?
Yeah, I think that sometimes the course you planned just doesn't fit you anymore.
Yeah.
We're taught to set goals early and stick to them. But what if the person who made that goal no longer exists.
Good question.
You have to give yourself permission to change direction.
It's not about giving up. It's about evolving. Sometimes the course shifts because you've shifted. It takes courage to admit that the dream you once chased isn't the dream you have now. And real strength is letting your path change when your heart and your passion and your purpose changes.
All right, time for Aging Heroes Challenge number 1. Lay your course.
Think about a place or a part of yourself that you've been avoiding. Maybe something you've left behind because it was too hard or too complicated. Write it down. Maybe it's making a phone call you've been putting off, or driving down the road you swore you'd never take again.
It doesn't have to be huge.
It doesn't.
Just real. Sometimes the smallest step toward reclaiming your past can point you toward your future. Maybe it's a conversation that's long overdue, or revisiting a hobby you left behind. Give yourself permission to pick up those pieces without judgment.
Good stuff. Let's do a segment 1 recap. Number 1, moving forward sometimes means looking back.
Number 2, revisiting your roots can reveal pieces of yourself you didn't know were missing.
Number 3, lay your course, but be willing to adjust when the winds change.
Number 4, one step can help you reclaim a lost part of your story.
I love that. Number 5, real growth is about adjusting your course when your heart, purpose, and passions change.
Coming up next, we'll talk about what happens when the course gets rough, how to hold your ground when the waves hit hard. Stay tuned. It's more latitude adjustment ahead.
You ever set your course clear as day, ready to go, only to get smacked by a wave you didn't see coming?
Every day.
It sounded so familiar.
Sometimes it feels like the ocean's got it out for you.
Oh,
1 minute you're cruising, feeling the sun on your face, and the next you are drenched and fighting to stay upright.
and that's the rub. Yeah. You lay your course, you feel good, you're steering straight, and then storm blows in like it's got something to prove.
You can have the clearest map, but life doesn't always care. Sometimes it's not about the compass. It's about keeping your hand on the wheel when the skies spit fury. It's not about plotting a path. It's about holding steady when the path gets battered.
So what happens when the sky goes dark? You remember that time we took Gatsby out for that quick sail on Lake Norman?
The one where we checked the weather 3 times.
We did.
Saw nothing but blue skies.
That's what I remember.
And ended up in a squall that felt like Poseidon picked a fight with us.
Exactly. We had just passed the point, sails full, music playing, feeling like pros-ish. And then, out of nowhere, the sky just opened up. It broke. Winds whipping, water lapping up over the deck. We were keeled up, and the look on your face, well, we won't have everyone relive that with you.
It's true. But you were steady.
Mm-hmm.
You seemed to actually enjoy the experience. You held that tiller like a champion.
In truth, my heart was pounding, but I kept thinking about what you always say. Don't fight the wind, just work with it. We reefed the sail and aimed for the lee side of the lake. It wasn't graceful, but we managed to navigate everything safely. That day taught me something. It's not just about the journey you plan. It's about the way you adapt when the plan crumbles.
That's the key, right?
Yeah.
When the storm hits, you don't power through blindly, you adapt. Doesn't mean you abandon the plan, just means you adjust your tactics. Sometimes you have to slow down to get through safely. Sometimes it's not about conquering the storm, but enduring it.
It's funny how life teaches you that. We didn't plan for a storm, but we prepared for one.
Yeah.
We had the right gear, kept our heads clear, and didn't try to force our way through. That's why we made it safely back to the marina. It's not just about braving the storm. It's about being wise enough to know when the better choice might be to wait it out.
There's something empowering about realizing you can withstand more than you thought. The storm doesn't just test your strength, it reveals it. You come out the other side more confident, not because the storm was easy, but because you didn't let it break you.
Yeah. So let's talk about how to navigate when the world goes hazy. Number 1, breathe. Your instincts might say panic, but panic doesn't sail the ship. It just makes the waves look bigger.
Number 2, don't make big decisions in the storm. Stay the course unless the facts, not the fear, tell you otherwise. Reacting to the noise just sends you in circles.
Number 3, find your anchor, that one grounding truth that doesn't change even when the sky does. For Rusty and I, it's each other, knowing that whatever's going down, we are always in it together.
Truth. And it's not about staying upright. It's about using the storm to learn something. Sometimes you discover a stronger version of yourself in the chaos. You realize that the struggle itself was shaping you, making you more resilient, more grounded.
Yeah. The storm also forces you to reevaluate what truly matters. When the storm's howling and your boat is rocking, you realize what's essential and what's just noise. It strips away the trivial stuff and leaves you with clarity.
So it's time for Aging Heroes Challenge number 2. Navigate the storm.
We want you to think of a time when life tossed a storm your way. Maybe it was the loss of a job, could be a health crisis, or someone you loved, maybe just letting you down. Write down how you handled it. Did you turn back? Did you navigate through it? What did that look like?
Then write down what you learned from it. How did the storm change you? How did it clarify your purpose? Or did it make you reroute completely? If you're in a storm now, take one small action today that aligns with your original compass. Just one, and hold tight.
This is probably a good place for a segment to recap. Let's call it Storm Navigation.
Number 1, storms don't mean your course is wrong.
Number 2, stay the course unless the facts, not the fear, tell you otherwise.
Number 3, anchor to your core truths and your community.
Number 4, sometimes just staying on deck is victory enough.
Number 5, growth comes not just from the calm, but from weathering the chaos.
And number 6, the storm tests your strength and reveals it. Coming up next, we'll talk about what happens when the storm passes and you're not the same person who set out. How to reconcile the old course with the new you. Stick with us. Create this picture in your mind. You're on a cross-country camping trip, road dust settling on your boots, maps scattered across the dashboard, and nothing but open sky in every direction. You're somewhere in the high desert and it's getting dark. You've plotted your course, checked the landmarks, but somehow you've gotten off-grid. The GPS has given up, and all you've got is your gut telling you that you've made a wrong turn back at the last fork.
That's the thing about road trips. You plan, you pack, you map out the whole route, and then one misturn, and you're somewhere you never expected.
And then 4 hours later...
Sometimes it's just a detour, and other times it feels like the road swallowed you whole.
We camped out near the Tallgrass Prairie in Kansas. We were supposed to find this well-marked site with a water source, but instead we ended up bumping along a gravel path that seemed to lead nowhere. The sun was getting super low, really fast. It was blazing hot, and we realized we were miles from anything resembling civilization.
We could have turned around, but we'd been driving all day.
We had been.
We set up camp right there, just pitched the tent in a flat place. Hell, there was nothing but flat spaces out there.
I was waiting for you to call that out.
I remember how quiet it was. No cars, no lights, just us, the stars, and the prairie dogs somewhere out there in the dark.
That's when it hit that sometimes when the road runs out, you just have to make peace with where you are. We cooked up some beans and chops on our camp stove, and that unexpected spot turned out to be one of the most beautiful campsites we'd stayed at in a long time. We woke up to the most unreal sunrise, painting the horizon shades of pink and gold. Getting lost turned out to be one of the best parts of that cross-country trip.
Life is full of those blank spaces. You set a goal, make a plan, and suddenly there's a change, a layoff, a diagnosis, a loss. Your map doesn't cover it, and you're left navigating by instinct. That's when it's crucial to trust your inner compass, the one that doesn't rely on coordinates, but on your own sense of purpose and values.
That's where philosophy comes in. It's your internal compass. You have to define your philosophy before the storm hits. Otherwise, you're just reacting to the chaos. If your philosophy is solid, it becomes your anchor when life gets unpredictable.
It's like JFK said, efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. You need a guiding principle, something you come back to when the sky goes dark. Without a philosophy, you're just wandering, hoping the road will make sense on its own.
So what's your philosophy of life? Does it belong to you, or did you inherit it from society? Most people never even realize they're living someone else's script. It's like autopilot, comfortable, but not necessarily where you want to go. Breaking out of that script takes courage and a willingness to question what you've always assumed was true.
We're taught to think that life is about chasing happiness through work, money, and buying stuff. If we're not earning or spending, we feel like we're failing. It's a narrow, hollow way to live. But what if life is about something deeper, like self-discovery, connection, purpose?
Beautiful.
What if happiness isn't the finish line, but the way you choose to walk the path?
That's a great question. People should sit with that for a minute. That's why aging heroes think for themselves. They define life on their own terms. They're explorers, not consumers. They're out there discovering their purpose, not just chasing paychecks. It's about seeing life as an adventure rather than a checklist.
And sometimes it's okay if the adventure doesn't go as planned. Sometimes the map you're following isn't wrong, it's just outdated. Your philosophy needs to be flexible enough to accommodate growth, change, and unexpected detours.
All right, everybody, it's time for Aging Heroes Challenge number 3. Chart the unknown. This week, pick one area of your life where you're feeling stuck. Maybe it's work, a relationship, or maybe it's a creative project. Write down why it feels like uncharted territory. What's stopping you from moving forward?
Then take one action. Doesn't have to be big, just something that breaks the inertia. Maybe it's a phone call, a walk in a new direction, or trying something you've always wanted to do but never dared to. It's not about making the perfect choice. It's about making a choice. Sometimes the first step is admitting you're lost.
I love that.
The second step is deciding to explore anyway.
And that's for the win. Let's do a recap. We're going to call it Charting the Unknown. Number 1, when the map runs out, let instinct guide you.
Number 2, adaptability is a form of courage.
Number 3, growth happens when you leave the familiar behind.
Number 4, take one small step into the unknown and trust your own resilience.
Number 5, writing your own story means stepping off the script.
And number 6, embrace the unexpected detours. They might just lead you to something beautiful.
Coming up next, we'll explore what happens when you find yourself in a place you didn't expect, how to reframe the unexpected and find meaning in the detour. Stick with us. So here we are in the final segment of another latitude adjustment adventure. It's tempting to think that everything we've talked about today is just philosophy, just ideas floating in the breeze like loose sails. But here's the secret. None of this matters unless you put your hands on the wheel.
Yep. Ideas don't move the boat. Effort does. You can have the most beautiful map in the world, but if you never leave the dock, you're just admiring paper.
Ooh, that sounds dull. We've spent this episode unraveling the myth of happiness, and it's not a goal to chase, but a state of being to invite in. It's not some shiny, distant thing. It's the salt on your skin after a long swim in the ocean. It's finding laughter on a really hard day.
Yeah. And it's not waiting for you in some future version of yourself.
No.
It's in the mess, the imperfection, the realness.
Yeah.
It's in finally getting that bike you've been afraid to ride, even after you've been knocked down.
It all comes back to laying your course. To do that, you have to define your own philosophy. We have to ask ourselves those 3 big questions. What is life all about? How do we screw it up? And how can we fix it? Those questions keep us grounded when everything else feels uncertain.
Our culture often says life is about getting more money, more things, more success. And if you don't have enough, you've failed. That's a treadmill. It keeps you running without ever really moving.
We believe life is more than that. It's about exploration, growth, service. It's about being grateful for the journey and creating purpose through self-discovery and giving back.
Yeah.
When you step away from the noise and really think about what matters, you start to see how much time you've spent chasing things that don't really even fill you up.
I remember talking to a student at Western Piedmont who was overwhelmed, working 2 jobs, taking a full course load, and still feeling like he wasn't doing enough. We sat down and made a list of what really mattered to him.
I love that.
Yeah, those things for him were family, creativity, and learning.
Yeah.
Realizing that allowed him to make small changes, cutting back on hours and prioritizing classes that sparked his passion. Sometimes redefining your course means letting go of what society tells you is necessary.
Yeah. And it's not just about giving up ambition. It's about aligning that ambition with who you are. Success doesn't have to look like a bank statement. It can look like a life well lived, connections made, challenges overcome, and a heart that's still open to the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do is to reframe what feels like failure. Sometimes when you don't hit that goal, it's easy to feel like you've lost. But what if that wasn't failure? What if that detour was exactly where you needed to go to learn what you couldn't see before?
I remember planning a really big event and ended up that half of the invitees canceled at the last minute. I remember at first feeling like I'd failed. Maybe I hadn't marketed it right. Maybe I hadn't communicated well enough, that maybe it just wasn't appealing enough. But the smaller group actually allowed for deeper connections, more intimate conversations, and the whole thing turned out beautifully.
That's the paradox, right? Sometimes failure isn't what you think it is. Sometimes it's just life pointing you in a different direction, one that's richer, deeper, and more aligned with your true purpose.
Aging Heroes Challenge number 4. Define your philosophy. Here's our challenge for you all. We want you to write down your personal philosophy, your compass. Answer those 3 questions. What is life all about? How do we screw it up? And how can we fix it? Be honest with yourself.
Don't settle for the easy answers society hands you. Think deeply. Maybe it's about connecting with people. Maybe it's about finding beauty in nature or pushing past your fears. Whatever it is, make it yours. Keep it visible on a sticky note in your notebook.
Yeah.
Somewhere you can see it when the winds pick up.
Beautiful. It's time for segment 4's recap. Number 1, living intentionally means defining your own philosophy.
Number 2, don't let society's script tell you what matters.
Number 3, embrace gratitude and purpose to guide your path.
And number 4, courage without direction is just wandering.
Okay, everybody, today we tackled the myth that happiness is about consumerism. Instead, we found it's something you create by living intentionally and leaning into the unknown. We talked about the storms that knock us off course and how to hold your ground when the wind shifts. We've redefined success, not as something handed to you, but as something you build through intention and presence. If this episode hit your heart, if it spoke to you, share it. Text a friend, tag us, and go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Aging Heroes. You can also find our full tribe at www.agingheroes.com.
Next week, we're going deeper into the concept of courage. How do you stay brave when the map doesn't make sense? How do you keep pushing when fear feels like your only companion? It's going to be real, it's going to be raw, and it's going to be packed with stories of bravery that doesn't always look heroic.
I don't want to miss that. Until next time, keep your compass close and your hearts open, because we're all on this journey together.